For centuries, the question of whether God exists has been at the center of human thought. Empires have risen and fallen, philosophies have come and gone, yet the question remains just as alive today as it was in the minds of the earliest thinkers. Many people claim that faith is simply a matter of blind belief, something embraced without evidence or reason. But when one looks deeper, beyond surface doubts and fashionable skepticism, there are profound logical foundations that make the existence of God not only possible but highly reasonable. These foundations are not just emotional appeals or cultural traditions. They are rooted in philosophy, science, and the very nature of human experience. To understand them is to realize that faith in God can walk hand in hand with reason, and that belief is not the absence of logic, but the fulfillment of it. The first great reason lies in the very origin of the universe. Everything we know within our world operates under the principle of causality. Things do not just come into existence from nothing, they arise because of something else. A tree grows from a seed, a child is born from parents, and a storm forms because of shifting winds and pressure. When scientists peer back through time, they tell us that the universe itself had a beginning. It was not eternal. It began with what we call the Big Bang, a moment where space, time, matter, and energy all came into existence. But if everything that begins to exist must have a cause, then what caused the universe? The cause cannot itself be material, because matter only came into existence at that moment. It cannot be bound by time, because time itself began at that moment. It must be eternal, powerful beyond imagination, and existing outside of space and matter. That description fits precisely what people have always called God. To say the universe simply appeared without a cause is to abandon reason. Logic demands a first cause, and the very existence of the cosmos points directly to it. But even more fascinating than the origin of the universe is the way it is arranged. Scientists often talk about the fine-tuning of the cosmos, and for good reason. The laws of physics are incredibly precise. Gravity, the speed of light, the strength of nuclear forces, all of these constants have to be exactly as they are, or else life could not exist. If gravity were just a little stronger, stars would burn too quickly for planets to form. If it were slightly weaker, no stars would form at all. If the balance between matter and antimatter had tilted only slightly differently in the beginning, the universe would be nothing but radiation. The odds of all these constants aligning by random chance are astronomically small, far smaller than winning a lottery not once but trillions of times in a row. To claim this happened accidentally is to stretch belief far beyond reason. The far more rational explanation is that there is a designer behind the design, a mind behind the mathematics, and an intelligence behind the laws of nature. This is not a leap of blind faith, but the most reasonable conclusion to draw from the evidence before us. Beyond the stars and galaxies, another sign of God is written into the human heart itself. Across cultures, across centuries, humans have always shared a sense of morality. Certain things are universally recognized as wrong: murder, cruelty, dishonesty. Others are universally recognized as good: kindness, justice, love. These moral laws feel binding, as if they are not simply personal opinions, but truths we are accountable to. If morality were nothing more than a social invention, it would change as easily as fashion, and yet it does not. Even when societies justify injustice, deep down people still feel its wrongness. The existence of objective moral laws points to a moral lawgiver. Just as laws in a nation come from a source of authority, moral laws must come from a transcendent authority greater than any individual or culture. To deny God is to reduce morality to mere preference, but in doing so, one undermines the very foundation of justice and ethics. Belief in God provides not only an explanation for why morality exists, but also a grounding for why human life has value and dignity. Equally powerful is the mystery of human consciousness. Science has made remarkable progress in explaining the brain, mapping its structures, and understanding how neurons fire. Yet even the most advanced science cannot explain the experience of being, what philosophers call qualia. The redness of a sunset, the sweetness of honey, the feeling of love or sorrow, these are not just electrical impulses, they are lived realities of consciousness. If human beings were only biological machines, there would be no reason for us to experience beauty, to seek meaning, or to wonder about purpose. The fact that we can even ask the question of God's existence sets us apart from all other animals. Consciousness is not an illusion. It is a window into something beyond the physical. It suggests that we are not just matter but also spirit, and that our souls reflect the image of something greater than ourselves. Blind matter cannot produce minds capable of truth, love, and purpose, but a divine mind can. Finally, we must reflect on the very principle of reason itself. Every day, humans rely on logic, mathematics, and rationality to navigate life and to unlock the mysteries of the universe. But why should a universe that arose by pure accident be rational? Why should our minds, shaped only by blind chance, produce truth instead of illusion? The fact that the universe is ordered, that mathematics describes it so perfectly, and that human reason is capable of grasping these truths, points to a rational source behind it all. Reason works because the universe itself is reasonable. That is not something chaos can produce, but rather something that flows naturally from a rational creator. Belief in God makes sense of why reason works. Without God, reason becomes a happy accident, with no guarantee of truth. With God, reason becomes the reflection of a greater intelligence, the same intelligence that breathed order into the cosmos. When one considers these five great truths, the origin of the universe, the fine-tuning of nature, the reality of morality, the gift of consciousness, and the very principle of reason itself, it becomes clear that belief in God is not the rejection of logic, but its fulfillment. Skeptics may argue endlessly, yet at every step, disbelief forces one into positions that defy reason more than belief does. To say the universe had no cause, that life appeared from impossible odds, that morality is just preference, that consciousness is an illusion, and that reason is unreliable. These are not the conclusions of logic, but of denial. The belief in God, on the other hand, aligns perfectly with the deepest truths of reality. Faith, then, is not blind. It is the eye that sees further, guided by reason, yet reaching beyond it. Logic itself points upward, not downward, to a reality greater than all matter, all energy, and all time. And that reality, whether one calls it the first cause, the designer, the moral lawgiver, the source of consciousness, or the mind of reason, is what humanity has always known as God. Another powerful indication of God's existence is the presence of beauty in the world. Beauty is not necessary for survival, yet it permeates creation. The colors of the sky at dawn, the melody of a song, the elegance of mathematical equations, all of these evoke wonder and joy. If life were only about chance and survival, beauty would be a meaningless byproduct. Yet it touches something deep within the human heart, pointing toward a creator who is not only rational, but also an artist. The universe seems to have been designed not just to function, but to inspire. Beauty whispers of intention, and intention implies a mind behind it. There is also the undeniable human hunger for meaning. Across cultures and times, people have asked the same questions. Why are we here? What is the purpose of life? Material success never fully answers these questions. Wealth, power, and comfort fail to quench the thirst for significance. If the universe were indifferent and meaningless, our longing for meaning would be an illusion. Yet such a profound and universal desire must point to a reality that fulfills it. Just as thirst points to the existence of water, so the human longing for purpose points to a higher source of meaning, and that source is God. Human freedom further strengthens this case. People know, deep within, that they are free to choose their actions. We hold others accountable precisely because we believe they could have acted differently. If everything were the inevitable outcome of atoms colliding in a mechanical universe, then freedom would be nothing more than an illusion. But freedom feels real, and it shapes every human society, law, and moral system. Real freedom cannot come from blind matter alone. It points instead to a spiritual reality where the soul transcends mechanical determinism. This freedom is best explained by the existence of a creator who endowed humanity with the dignity of choice. Equally compelling is the universality of faith. No matter where one looks in history, human beings have sought the divine. From ancient civilizations to modern societies, belief in something higher has never disappeared. Even when people turn away from traditional religion, they often invent substitutes, treating ideologies, leaders, or even themselves as objects of devotion. This universal instinct suggests that the human spirit was made to seek beyond itself. Just as the eye was made to see and the ear was made to hear, the human soul was made for God. Such an unbroken pattern across all ages and cultures is not an accident, but a clue woven into human nature. Finally, there are the countless experiences that defy purely material explanation. Throughout history, individuals have testified to moments that transcend the ordinary, sudden healings, profound guidance, or unexplainable protection. While skeptics call these coincidences, the sheer consistency of such experiences across cultures and centuries demands attention. They suggest that reality is not closed within physical laws, but open to the presence of the divine. These experiences are like windows, briefly opened, allowing glimpses of a higher truth that affirms what reason already points to, that God is real and active in the world. Another striking indication of God's reality is the existence of order within chaos. Nature is full of patterns, spirals in galaxies, symmetry in flowers, the rhythm of seasons, the cycles of life and death. Even in places that appear random, such as turbulent rivers or shifting weather systems, mathematics reveals hidden structures and order. If the universe were nothing but a product of blind chance, why would such patterns exist at every level, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy? The presence of order suggests the work of a mind that arranged reality with purpose, a harmony that cannot be reduced to coincidence. We also cannot ignore the reality of love. Love is more than a chemical impulse. It moves people to sacrifice for others, to forgive when justice demands revenge, to give without expecting anything in return. If human beings were only machines programmed for survival, love would have no place, because it often runs contrary to self-interest. Yet love is the most celebrated and universal force in human history, powerful enough to inspire poetry, art, and even acts of heroism. Such a profound and immaterial force cannot be explained by evolution alone. It points to a greater source of love, a divine reality from which human love is only a reflection. Finally, there is the resilience of hope. Human beings endure pain, injustice, loss, and despair, yet they continue to hope for a better tomorrow. Hope drives revolutions, fuels healing, and gives strength even in the face of death. If the universe were truly meaningless, hope would be nothing more than a cruel trick of the mind. Yet hope persists, rising again and again, even in the darkest places. That persistence suggests that reality itself is not closed and meaningless, but open and purposeful. Hope shines as a light that reflects the ultimate goodness of God, assuring humanity that despair is not the final word.